Hello and welcome to Balconnen Baptist YouTube Devotional. This week we are journeying together to the cross. This week is known as the Holy Week, the most significant week in the Christian Church's calendar. Today we are looking at the incident where Jesus went in and cleared the temple. When Jesus rode into the city of Jerusalem on a foal of a donkey, he immediately went to the temple. What did Jesus do? Well, Mark says that first of all he went in and carefully looked around, but because it was already getting late, he went back to Bethany. What he saw must have really upset him. When Jesus left in the morning from Bethany, we are told that he was quite hungry. He saw in the distance a fig tree. When Jesus reached it, he noticed that the fig tree had no figs, and so he cursed it. Then Jesus arrived back into the city of Jerusalem, and then he went straight to the temple. And this is what Luke wrote in chapter 19, verses 45 to 48. Then Jesus entered the temple and began to drive out the people selling animals for sacrifices. He said to them, "The scriptures declare, my temple will be a house of prayer, but you have turned it into a den of thieves." After that, he taught daily in the temple, but the leading priests, the teachers of the religious law, and the other leaders of the people began planning how to kill him. But they could think of nothing, because all the people hung onto every word he said. The full deity of Jesus is evident during this Holy Week. Now, I appreciate that the deity of Christ is hard to understand. However, we do see both the human side of Jesus and also the God side of him. Jesus knew that being Monday, his death was only just days away. Full of emotion from this, plus being so angry at what he had saw being happening in the temple, that he started to lead out, to push out, to drive out the sellers from the temple. Money changers and merchants did big business during the Passover. Those who came from foreign countries had to have their money exchanged into the temple currency, because this was the only money accepted for the temple tax and for the purchase of animals ready for the Passover. Often the inflated exchange rate enriched the money changers, and the exorbitant prices of animals made these merchants quite wealthy. Their stalls were set up in the temple courts of the Gentiles, making it all but impossible for non-Jews to spend any time in worship. It was always God's desire for Gentiles to pray in the temple. Long ago, God said through the prophet Isaiah, this is found in Isaiah chapter 56, verses 6 and 7, he said this, "I will also bless the foreigners who commit themselves to the Lord, who serve him and love his name, who worship him and do not desecrate the Sabbath day of rest, or who hold fast to my covenant. I will bring them to my holy mountain of Jerusalem, and will fill them with joy in my house of prayer. I will accept their burnt offerings and sacrifice, because my temple will be called a house of prayer for all nations." Jesus became angry because God's house of prayer and worship had become a place of extortion and a barrier to Gentiles who wanted to pray and to worship. Jesus was angry, but he didn't sin. And there is a place for righteous indignation. Christians are right to be upset about sin and injustice and should take a stand against them. I also wonder if this was perhaps another act, like the Palm Sunday parade, had as a second purpose of inciting the religious leaders to plot the death of Jesus, as verse 48 seems to suggest. Today, as we journey together to the death and to the resurrection of Jesus, ponder upon these questions. What thing or things really upset you that is stopping people from hearing the gospel and even receiving justice? What steps can you take to remove these barriers? Now reflect on this incident in the temple and how it relates to the cross. And so today, may the Lord bless you and protect you. May the Lord smile on you and be gracious to you. May the Lord show you his favour and give you his peace.